Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally is our guest on Inside Politics this week. Lieutenant Governor McNally, one other education question. Governor Lee has talked a lot during his campaign about an increased emphasis on vocational and technical education, to the point where in times in the primary he talked about having almost new different schools adjoining the existing schools on the junior high and senior high level, so kids would be able to have those kind of programs right there at every school in the state. That sounds like a big capital investment somewhere down the road. Is the legislature generally on board about the need for a greater emphasis on VOTEC education?
I think it is, and we've begun to start that investment. This year, I believe we put $50 million in for equipment at the TCAT centers, and I think probably they'd start by having certain programs like we do with college programs at the high school level, but certain training programs for vocations at the high school level, and then moving the students maybe half a day at the high school and half a day at the vocational center. But
that could mean an additional either capital or transportation component is going to have to be added in.
It could mean some.
A political question, although it's something that may come up in terms of legislation before this legislature. The Executive Committee of the Tennessee Republican Party is, by a large margin, recently approved an idea of asking the legislature and the Republican supermajority there in both houses to come up with a new way of having primary elections in the state. Right now, anybody who wants to vote in either primary can show up election day and vote in whichever primary they choose. But this would close those primaries except to those who register in advance to be members of a particular party, the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. Is that a good idea?
I think it's an idea that might require a lot of work. The devil's in the details, and the what we don't want to do is, we've seen a lot of conservative Democrats become Republicans, and certainly we want to welcome them into the party. And what we don't want to do is set up barriers where they can't vote and can't participate. And I know with President Trump, a lot of his voters were actually new voters, people that hadn't voted in previous elections. And he energized a lot of those people, and they came out. And I think we have to be careful about moving forward in that area.
Why is there such strong support about this from your executive committee on the party?
Well, in some areas we've had Democrats run, and it happened in one of my counties. A Democrat ran as a Republican in the Republican primary.
But that's a candidate issue, not a registration issue.
And then the head of the party and others on Facebook were encouraging Democrats to cross over and vote in the Republican primary.
Do you think crossover voting is a problem in Tennessee? It's often rumored to be a big thing in the state, but rarely materializes.
It can be.
So do you think this is something the legislature will take action on this year, or do you think this is something that's going to take maybe a couple of years worth of study? You want to do it, if you're going to do it by 2020, you almost have to do something this year about it.
It'll certainly be done in committee.
Let's also talk about a bill that's been in committee, never quite gotten out to the floor, but continues to get support every year, and that's the medical cannabis bill. What is your thought about that? A lot of states are doing a lot of medical marijuana legislation. There's been a split. The current administration, the Haslam administration, has always thought it was something that would encourage the use of marijuana, which is illegal. What are your thoughts? Is this something that people need to have in order to have those kind of extra choice things to do to particularly get pain relief?
It's a difficult thing because, you know, with the opiates, we initially, you know, the physicians were told, well, these are less addicting and so on, and you saw the problem we had in controlling opiates. Now we seem to control the prescription opiate, and we're having people that are going on the street and buying heroin or fentanyl or opiates.
But the medical cannabis might give them another choice besides that, which could be controlled.
Yeah, and controlling it and making sure the right people get it. But the big holdup is it's a Schedule II drug, and that's something the federal government.
Even the cannabis oil?
Yeah, the hemp oil is not, but the cannabis oil is.
when the new governor comes in, there's always a little bit of delay for him to get his group together, get a budget, come back, and usually the legislature doesn't get started much until February. But you've got all the new people this year. Do you expect sort of a little bit of a slow start this year as everybody sort of gets oriented and ready to go?
The slow start will be on the presentation of the budget, and then we'll have to have about 6 weeks of budget hearings. The budget won't be presented, I think, until the first part of March, the very first week in March. So that, 6 weeks from there puts us into April, and I'd like to get finish up by the last part of April or the first part of May.
There's been a lot of pride in the legislature, particularly among the Republican majority in the last couple of years, of being done by sometime in April. But you think this year we may be looking more into the spring to get things done, just to wrap up your work?
Because of the budget and because of we'll have a 2-week off period, where in the past we've not taken that, simply because of some of those timing issues. But will we go into mid-May? I don't think so.
Lieutenant Governor McNally, thank you so much for coming on. Sorry, I had a flashback there for a second. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you in 2019.
I'm the handsome one.
You are. Thank you for joining us this week on Inside Politics. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get up politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.
Thanks.